Alright, today I want to show you today I want to share some knowledge with you. This is from Ron Morehead's book, The Quantum Bigfoot. And as you can see, I've bookmarked a lot of stuff in his book. He spent 2 whole years researching to make this book. This is full of a ton of information. So I'm going to cover this one part today, and then soon I'll cover some more stuff out of his book here. He has a second book here too. This was his first book. I bought this from him when he was here in Ocala, and I got to read it still. I haven't read it. But this book right here is full of information. And this one part here that I'm fixing to show you has a lot to do with dolphins. And I'll show you why too, that to me this was really interesting. So let me show you something real quick. And then I'll reset this back up. So this is from one of my videos here. And I'll show you some more footage too, because I do a lot of filming and make fishing videos too. So this is some of the stuff I've caught with dolphins. These are some photos, and then you'll see some videos. So this is my own footage here. So I'm going to turn the volume on all the way down. But this is my own footage right here. So let me just back that up a little so you can see it better. And then I'll show you some more footage of some of the dolphins that we see. So Joan Ocean, she studied dolphins and swam with them in Hawaii for 20 years. And I'll show you, I'm going to read this to you. Alright, I got the camera set back up here. Alright, so this is going to take a few minutes. So I'm going to read this to you. So, Joan Ocean, she wrote this. Alright, let me get this in the camera right. So she wrote this part right here for Ron Morehead's book. So I'm going to read it to you. Okay, so Joan Ocean is currently regarded as a leading authority on the subject of dolphin telepathic communication. She developed the methodologies of her work entitled Participatory Research, in which human and cetacean species are equally conducting research with each other, and has dedicated her life to studying cetaceans by respectfully joining them in their natural habitats and becoming their friend. Okay, so in this video, in the description, I'm going to add some of her videos. She's got some videos of swimming with dolphins, and some videos where she's like on a podcast talking to people. So I'm going to include those too. So if you're interested in those, you can go to the description and watch these videos too with her. Okay, so it says the author's note. Joan Ocean wrote the following article expressly for the Quantum Bigfoot. I sincerely thank her for that. Joan's real life experience is everything this book is about. So that's Ron Morehead. That's his note right there. Okay, so I'll take pictures of these pages, and like I've been doing too with the other ones. Okay, so there's more going on than most know. Alright, I had to change positions here and get in a different room. So I want to continue this. Alright, so I'm just gonna start over on this first page, on this one page here, where this is from Joan Ocean. There is more going on than most know. And this was her in Hawaii in 2017. When I first met the free-swimming dolphins in the warm waters along the Kona coast. Alright, so let's start over. Okay, so this is from Joan Ocean. This is her this is her part that she wrote for the book. And I'll take pictures of these pages and put them on here too. And then I'll show you some more of the dolphins that I film when we're out fishing, because we see them almost every time we go fishing. Out in the saltwater, we see them. Girl, you get up here. Come on, good girl. Okay, so here we go. So this is hers, the Joan Ocean. There's more coming. Okay, there's more going on than most know. Joan Ocean, MS, Hawaii, 2017. So when I first met the free-swimming dolphins in the warm waters along the Kona coast of the Big Island, I was intrigued by their behaviors. They obviously responded to each other as family members would, swimming side by side, diving in unison, communicating with many different whistles and squawks, mating often and giving birth to their young, who they obviously loved and cared for. They seemed unconcerned about my close presence. They carried on in their daily life as I wasn't there. And so I continued to swim alongside them for months that turned into years, getting to know them by their identifying marks on their bodies, tails and fins, feeling honored by their willingness to have me alongside them, feeling like one of their family members. Of course, I could not dive as deeply as they can, and I couldn't stay with them if they decided to swim fast and move on to a different bay for the day. Then I would say goodbye and hoped they would return again the next day. And they did. Day after day they swam into the bay where I lived in a little house along the shore, and upon their arrival they would leap into the air to be sure I could see them. I would immediately go into the bay and swim toward them. They would come toward me, and we would close the gap between us, turning into each other to swim side by side. There was no mistaking their behavior. It was such a wonderful and satisfying feeling to see that they remembered me and seemed as happy to see me as I was to see them. As a youngster, I had rheumatic fever and was restricted from involvement in many sports or athletic activities, and so this new behavior of mine, swimming with them, was exhilarating for me. I felt strong in the ocean and safe too when they were by my side. I noticed that they came to me, allowing me to swim in their slipstream or water flow field as a way to keep me alongside the rest of the pod. If I fell behind while they circled wide, round and round in the bay, one or two would double back to swim alongside me and help me catch up. At some point I had the aha moment where I realized they were accepting me as a member of their group, and my heart overflowed with love as I acknowledged their kind hospitality and relaxed into their gentle company. More and more revelations came into my mind as I escorted them around the bay each day. They were sending me information about themselves and about their ocean home. Back on land, I dutifully wrote it all down and kept it in a journal. My enthusiasm to be with them accelerated to the point where I did not want to go anywhere else. No vacations, no trips to the mainland, no shopping in town. I only wanted to be with them and learn from them. I called our time together participatory research. This was something we were doing together, teaching and learning. I began to feel they wanted me to know them and to tell others about them, who they really are. I facilitated a conference in Kona, Hawaii about the dolphins, and because I often like to invite a speaker who was different from the rest, I chose to invite a man who had written a book about Bigfoot. It seemed that some of his experiences of communication with them were similar to my growing communications with the dolphins. This led to my going into the forest on the mainland for a week to see if there really were any humanoids by the name of Bigfoot or Sasquatch. I was doubtful but curious, since many respected and sincere people were claiming proof of their presence, of their existence. Okay, contacting Kiyomachi. During that first week, alone in the beautiful remote Kiyomachi Mountains, I was enjoying warm fall weather with the door of my log cabin open to view the autumn leaves and the setting sun. Sitting on the cabin floor, I looked up when I felt a shadow pass over me. I was shocked and then gratified to see a tall, hairy Sasquatch silently standing outside my cabin door. Unmoving, she stood there, then lowered her head, leaning down to look inside the doorway at me. Returning her gaze, making eye contact, I felt a sense of peacefulness come over me. I had no fear. Her eyes were kind and loving and gazing directly into my eyes. By all that is rational, I should have been scared or at least surprised, but no, I felt calm and even a timeless feeling of contentedness in her presence. Did we connect for a minute, or was it for an hour? I was soon to learn that our relationship to time can be different in the world of these Sasquatch. In addition, I have learned that they can emit by choice a frequency of calmness or a frequency of fear into their surroundings as a protective measure when needed. We remained gazing into each other's eyes, motionless, until this 7-foot female Bigfoot lifted her head and silently lumbered away. I did not move. I was truly spellbound. I felt surrounded in feelings of gentleness and harmony. I didn't want to lose it. My mind was racing to understand what I had seen, but my feelings were of a deep contentment, a knowing, even a familiarity with this hairy humanoid. My feelings confounded me more than the experience itself. Shouldn't I have been afraid, alone here with no one else around? Shouldn't I have backed away from this massive hairy thing? Shouldn't I have yelled out in surprise? No, I felt honored. I felt relaxed and peaceful. I felt extremely graceful. I felt extremely grateful and quietly elevated. Inexplicably, I felt love. I had come to this place to meet them, and this one had come to meet me. And so this began my friendship with a family of 35 Sasquatch who lives in the forest. As the years passed and I spent weeks in the spring and weeks in the fall with them, I learned they had many of the same abilities and advanced sensory perceptions that the dolphins also exhibited. Because of the experiences I have had with the dolphins, and this is her book, Dolphins into the Future. She published in 1997, and I looked on Amazon, and that's on Amazon, that book. So I'll be getting that pretty soon to read it. So, alright, and then I found I could communicate very naturally with some of the Sasquatch family as well. They seem able to project the sound of their voice so that it is not always evident where they are coming from. In front of me, behind me, up on the mountain, across the river. I learned to enjoy their multiple sounds, some of which closely mimic human words. So their sounds and mimicking human words. And I didn't need to look this way and that to see them. They are excellent at telepathic communications whenever I open up myself to commune with them in that way. And there's a lot of people that communicate with the Bigfoot, Sasquatch that way, like that. Often I'm having an unspoken thought when I sense the warm feeling of the presence, and a response comes into my mind. And a response comes into my mind in answer to my thought. Many of their communications surprise me with their clever understanding of the human race, and it is more than a thought. For example, when I asked them one day where they were, since I hadn't heard from them the night before, they answered, "We at South Lake." When I receive a transmission from them, it is not just words. In fact, there are very few words. I receive an image, and that was how I got mine when I had them send me an image of a water moccasin and exactly where it was, so that we could go out around it. They sent me an image that wasn't actually words. In this communication, I was suddenly immersed in a vision of them in a lake cooling off and in joyful company with some of their family. With some of their family members. Their relationship to nature is very profound and is part of their daily life. When I receive information like this, it seems to also carry their feelings, their physical contentment, enjoying the cool water on this very warm day, and the beauty of the surroundings where they are. I receive impressions in my mind of their location without having been there. It is as close as you can get to being there yourself. Okay, so I had to get up for a second. Alright, so continuing on. So this is also the method of communication I experience with the Hawaiian spinner dolphins. While swimming in the ocean with them, they send me sound pictures that I have named acoustic images. They communicate with each other this way and also with me. Rather than telepathy, I call it telepathy. It is more than a mind-to-mind transmission of thoughts. It includes feelings and images. So that's not just sending like words, sending feelings and images. That's pretty cool. Communicating non-verbally is a much more efficient and complete method than using only words and mental processes. One evening I asked their permission to bring a few people to meet them if I'd develop a protocol for their safety and anonymity. Eventually they said yes. I interviewed respondents thoroughly, but occasionally someone came along who had fear and doubt. A little of that is a good thing, but not if it would make the person overly excitable or nervous. Then the Sasquatch would hold back and come in close, whereas normally I would hear them approaching, walking in the crunching dead leaves with easy long strides, and then they would stand behind us for a distance, or sometimes very close, depending on how accepting the people were. Always wanting to see them, I would ask if they would come forward, but they responded that experience had taught them that the human race was frightened by their appearance and would become unpredictable, perhaps hurting themselves due to fear, and that they preferred to make contact in the dark and with people who were ready. They could tell somehow if we were ready, and their contact with us proceeded accordingly. Most everyone who joined me had an unusual, strong desire to meet the forest people and befriend them. They were not disappointed. Whenever I arrive in the forest, I inquire where they are, and their answer is always the same: we are here. I look around and I don't see them. Where are you? As time went on, I began to realize that they were right. They are always here. This was of great fascination for me as I began to understand their ability to transcend time and space. They seem able to drop into whatever space at whatever time they want to be with us. Somehow our limiting linear time beliefs are not applicable to them. So that seems to be the case also with us when we're out there in the field. They seem to always be there, or they can always show up. The dolphins had already communicated to me. Those dolphins are much more than their physical bodies, and because of that, they can enter dimensions that humans are unaware of. Because of this revelation from the very wise and inspiring dolphins, I could also understand the similar I could also understand the similar quantum field of consciousness of my new Sasquatch friends. Okay, so right here, speaking of dimensions and even portals, the quantum physicians have, the scientists have said there are at least 11 dimensions and possibly lots more. And even NASA has admitted that they have a scientist at a university studying portals and figuring out how to find them. So that's something that's not new, and a lot of people laugh about portals or dimensions, but that's something that science has been proven that is real. Okay, continuing on. Through acoustic imagery, the dolphins revealed to me a process called vertical intervention, or a window in time. I soon learned that these particular Sasquatch people were also capable of experiencing this phenomenon of coming and going, slipping in and out of time. When I questioned them about portals, they referred to these windows in time as the sometime place. When I then questioned their obvious ability to appear and disappear as needed and referred to it as dematerialization, they explained it differently, saying it was a temporal timeline they can enter. The scientists exploring wormholes and the new advanced physics of today might call it traversing parallel timelines. Apparently, we are experiencing the merging of temporal timelines now. Those friendly Sasquatches are already demonstrating this ability to alter reality via their active, expansive consciousness. Molecular physicists know that in quantum physics, electrons can pass through solid matter. Similarly, while in a quantum state, the Sasquatch have no weight or mass. They are like a wave of energy, or perhaps like an orb. Alright, so right here she's mentioning an orb as with the energy and the Sasquatch and the Bigfoots. And I've been experiencing that a lot with my game cameras. That they have something to do with the orbs and energy. Also a note on this. If you've ever watched The Flash, you'll see that he'll go to touch something and he'll start vibrating, and he can move through it. That's kind of what they're talking about here. About the body changing your vibration, your frequency, and being able to go through something. And apparently aliens are able to do that, and the gray aliens, apparently they can do that, and apparently Sasquatch, Bigfoot can do it. Okay, so this is almost over. This is what modern scientists are investigating in advanced laboratories around the world. I believe the dolphins and other life forms on Earth, such as the Sasquatch, can do this, so why not humans? Perhaps this is what we shall learn from our gentle Sasquatch friends once we earn their trust, begin to commune with them, and seek to protect them and their homes, the natural environments of planet Earth. And this is the end of Joan Ocean article. Alright, so that's some more truth and knowledge that I wanted to share with y'all. And this is from the Quantum Bigfoot by Ron Morehead. And this is Joan Ocean. So there's several videos here I'm going to put in the description, so you can check her out and check out the dolphins and stuff too that she's swimming with. It's pretty cool. And I'll add in a little bit more of my own footage too from some of the dolphins that I film when we're fishing. So we see them a lot when we go fishing. And also over in Clearwater, me and Wynette, 2 years ago we went to the Clearwater Marine Aquarium and went on the dolphin tour. So that they take you out in a pontoon boat out around the bay and out into the Gulf of Mexico a little bit, and watching the dolphins. And I'll have to watch my video again and my footage, but I believe the girl said there was about 178 dolphins in one pod there that live together. And I know that they'll split up and do their own thing and come back together. But our dolphins here, that they're in Clearwater, so there's about 178 of them. Whereas like Joan Ocean, she said there was like 200 in her pod that she was studying. So the dolphins are really cool out there, being able to watch them all the time like that when we're out there. And you see them out there feeding. Sometimes you'll see them feeding on the fish. And I've actually caught fish while they were feeding too. And it's pretty cool. Caught a lot of fish while they were feeding, the dolphins. And seeing them catching the fish, jumping up out of the water, catching fish in their mouth. Alright, so there we go. So make sure you check out the description. But one keeps doing like a backflip. The one smaller one.
But we do also have signs of human damage as well. We got some off our left-hand side as well. Unfortunately, the most common of this is prop cuts, so from boat propellers. Typically, it's just a big slice through the dorsal fin. We do have a dolphin in the area named Rogue, and he has basically a perfectly straight cut straight through the middle of it. So it looks like he has a teeny tiny little dorsal fin and then a little floppy bit at the back. Are all 180 named? Nearly. My department has taken great pride in naming these dolphins as we get to identify them. Once they've been fully, perfectly identified twice as the same dolphin, they are automatically put into our system. They're all at about 11 o'clock. So some of them are quite literal. So things like top notch, low notch, it's based on where some of their markings are. Low notch is our very first dolphin in our system, and her number is TT 2013-001. It's a lot to remember for one dolphin. We much prefer their names. And we've gotten creative over the years. They're named after our hometowns, our pets, our favorite foods, our favorite TV shows and movies. So we've got one out here named Hey Hey after the chicken from Moana. Unfortunately, his mental acuity is about the same. Not our smartest dolphin, unfortunately. We've got Buffy the Vampire Slayer characters. We've got cheese-themed dolphins. So we've got Swiss Cheddar Brie. Like I said, we've got Huckleberry. Got some in front of us as well. It looks like we've got dolphins all over the place. And then we do also have some where they're named kind of off the situation they were found at. We've got some at 1 o'clock, and some off our left-hand side. Looks like the ones off our left are breaching.
Oh,
yeah.
We don't get to see them breach very often, so it's pretty cool. Why do dolphins breach? It's for two big reasons that we know. Oh, look at you go! So the first one, especially if you just see it randomly, they're just having fun. It's a lot of fun for them. It's kind of like bouncing on a trampoline. But it does take a lot of excess energy. And it's kind of like, you know, hopping through your life. It's a lot of excess energy you really don't want to waste, or like running like a marathon in the middle of your day for no reason. So they're not going to do that. So they do it very sporadically when they want to have fun, or the other use for it is it's very useful. They're going to breach, especially for waves and weight where it's a little bit rougher, to help exfoliate their skin. We shed our skin cells once a day. Dolphins shed their skin cells 12 times a day. That is every 2 hours. If you think about some of the dry, itchy patches you get through your life, imagine this itchiness all day long. It's a lot. So they're going to jump through the waves and boat wake because they're exfoliating their skin, or essentially scrubbing themselves down with a loofah. So just watch these bumpies. These dolphins are still going to be off our left-hand side for a little bit more, but we are going to be continuing on in a couple of moments. We do try to limit how many boats are in the area around these dolphins and how long we each spend with them. They're at about 9 o'clock, just a little farther off right now. And typically, when you think of a group of dolphins, the term pod comes to mind. A pod is a big family group, and rather rather than traveling as a family, our dolphins are traveling in a grouping called fission fusion groups. This literally means coming together and breaking apart. So they're constantly changing their groupings up throughout the day. This is my 3rd trip today, and I have seen at least 2 different groupings now. This is over about 3 hours. And with these fission fusion groups, it's not uncommon to see just one dolphin. Typically, these solitary dolphins are going to be males. They just prefer a little extra space. But we have had solitary females as well. The largest group we've ever seen is about 30 dolphins. And we've seen any combination in between. The only time you can actually guarantee seeing dolphins together is a mom-calf pair like Frankie and Huckleberry, or a male pair bond. Calves are going to spend about 2 to 6 years with mom. Girls about 2 to 4 years. Boys closer to 6 years. It just takes them a little bit longer. And a male pair bond is essentially a lifelong bromance between 2 young male dolphins. If you see one, you're pretty much guaranteed to see the other. And it allows our typically more solitary males to be able to rely on those well-known dolphin social behaviors. These dolphins are still about 12 o'clock. And it means that our males are going to be a lot more successful. They're better at hunting and mating and just overall survival.
See.
Are they